Okay, hello everyone. So I am a little bit inspired to do a long form of my current series of short form of the title of Are You Being Honest with Yourself? And this is for the people who like to say, I am happy by myself. I do not need a partner. I do not want a partner. Um, and the groups of people happy being single. Well, good for you. If you are genuinely happy being single, that is fine. But this video is going to be aimed at the people who say these words but don't mean these words. Now, I have had an experience with family member when I had a pleasant night of uh, how shall I word this delicately? There was no intimacy involved other than general cuddling. Okay, so we've possibly all been there, and a little background as a segue into it, I've never been someone who's had a one night stand. I've always entered into monogamous one on one long term relationships for as long as I've lasted. Okay. So just to dismiss the fact that I'm running out, being promiscuous, and I've got nothing against you if you are so inclined. That is your life choice. However, it's to highlight what am I getting at? It's my very long-winded. Um, Let me just see if I can get a concept of time here. Probably not. Doesn't matter. So what's my point? And I know I take a long time to get to the point. Um, my point's this. I had a wonderful time in another country, met someone on my last night there, trying to stay in touch, um, but had gone over and had this pleasant turned into unpleasant experience. Okay. So what's my point? This person did not like the fact that someone in their life was happy and had some affection from someone. So what's my point is be careful of who you talk to, as always. That's my number one. Maybe I should get a t-shirt printed up. So be careful who you disclose your personal information to, because you can very easily lose a lot of friends if you're in a relationship with someone and they think you shouldn't be. It gets nasty. Now, am I going to be confrontational in this video? Absolutely, I am. That's probably going to be one of the reasons people watch me, because there's no point in being delicate about situations which need spotlight shined on them or shone on them, if you want to be grammatically correct. So, what's my point? I got attacked. I had all my happiness. There was an attempt to rip it from me. So I had to pull this person up and ask them why their husband left them. And then they got upset. And I'm like, what? Oh, so you can take my happiness away from me, but I can't highlight that maybe there's just something wrong with you. I was being accused of being this and that and the other thing. And I can take a lot of criticism and I'll slam it back into these people. Okay. So said person is on antidepressant tablets. Nothing wrong with that. However, if I choose not to be on antidepressant tablets and haven't been diagnosed with depression, okay, and I can travel the world and live and have experiences where this person's never left the country and they just wanted to be nasty, because I can't do that. And this is the crux of the matter. I said, I have friends who can't believe I keep going, that I might meet someone, think it's great, and it's not great, and it's for a myriad of reasons. And before you all jump at me and go, well, mister, who's the constant? I'm the constant. I'm the constant. And nowhere in my life will you find me having said, I am perfect, because I most certainly am not. And if you are, congratulations. So the point of the video is this. This inspired the video. This person, I said, and this person was like, oh, you're so attracted to people so quickly, rah, rah, rah. And excuse me for wanting to love someone and receive love back. You know, excuse me for that horrid human flaw that I was born with, and blame Disney and Hallmark for this concept of love. I mean, I'm so sorry. I want to go there and actually be nice to someone and have them be nice to me. I mean, how dare me? How dare me want that in my life? I mean, why don't I just get a dog? I had a dog. A dog was really nice. It's actually different to having a human being in your life. So this person lives by the motto that I'm not even making it up, that if they were to meet a man, that man will die. That man, whoever it is, they're just going to get sick and die right in front of them. So they don't want that. So they won't go out and risk having a man bring them flowers, open doors for them, tell them that they're beautiful, give them a kiss on the cheek and go, I love you. You're the world to me. We're just not going to have that, because if they're in a relationship, that guy's just going to drop dead in front of them. And so that is the catalyst of this video, of the complete and utter knee-jerk, reactional, misemotional, irrational thought pattern of arriving at a conclusion that I don't want a partner. Okay? If you are healthy, if you can travel the world, if you can engage in intimate contact with another human being, whether it's for a night, a year, a lifetime, and you are healthy enough to come to conclusions that things organically end, then welcome to the club. It's like, but if you are coming from a place of trauma, if you are coming from a place of damage, if you are coming from a place of the one guy in your life left you, you had one marriage to one person and you think you know it all, but you're incapable of forming another relationship after that, and then just arrive at the conclusion you don't want the relationship. And let's face it, I'm an old craggy-faced dinosaur, right? I'm way past my use-by date, absolutely way past it. But I'm not going to give up on it. But you know what? Now, I'm ready for the abuse, and you can give it to me because I can probably take it. What some of these people want to come to grips with, that men and women will sit around glorifying and intensifying to a state of being hallucinating about their desirability to others. Some that you see it, okay? This is a real bone of contention, this video, okay? This is just, I've watched this from both sides. In another video, I said I've had years without a partner. I've had years with partners. My personal preference as a human being, I enjoy being in a relationship, okay? I enjoy the communication, the affection, the somatic co-regulation of it, having someone to talk to. I am happier in that position. I can be happy, I guess, without it. But why would you not want to be happier? So that's the point of the video, is that Homo sapiens innately, as I've said before, we have a desire to procreate. What that procreation period is up for debate. One of my supervisors, we have long-winded discussions on this, and like things like Christianity and culture have ingrained into society the concept of marriage, and marriage is for life and it's to death us to part and all of this. And then you have your wonderful feminist and champions of the female species, and I'm all about equality. I just don't like it when one side wants to be a little bit more equal than the other. I have a problem with that. And if you have a problem with me having a problem with it, then that's your problem. So coming from a place of equality, it's fine. If women want to go, I don't need a man. We don't even need men. We can just breed without men. That's fine. Go ahead and do it. I mean, go ahead and do it. It's like, you probably unaware that there's a lot of men going, whoa, let's dodge that bullet. It's quite possible that men don't even want to go out with some of these women who don't want the partner. It's quite possible. And some of these women in their 60s and 70s going, I'm happy being alone, probably could find it difficult finding a guy to go out with them. And that's the bone of contention right there. I used to read this all the time, and I disagreed with it. When there was a lot of people going, I'm happy being alone, I don't want someone, you would get a lot of, and I believe they were predominantly males, writing in going, you just don't want someone because you can't get someone. Okay? That's your bone of contention. That is the most heated debate topic inside this video, is that point. Of course we can all sit there. All of us can sit there and go, I can find someone. But the caliber of that someone is up for debate. I could probably walk out and come home with someone tonight, but would I want to come home with that person? That's your bone of contention, people, is the caliber of the person you will get. It's like, to say someone can't get someone is a can of worms that's bottomless, because depending on your attachment style, depending on your personality, depending on your needs, your wants, even, and I don't want to really bring it into even your economic background and social economic status. But I mean, let's face it, it doesn't matter whether you're at one end of the spectrum or the other end of the spectrum. I mean, look at wealthy millionaires. Look at celebrities. They don't always have the I get married once and live happily ever after. I mean, there's countless celebrities have multiple marriages. And sometimes it's the stress of their career that brings it about. It could be attachment style as well. So do we want to deep dive into it? Well, yes, we do. That's the point of a long form video, isn't it? So if you've got, all right, so I just need to, okay. Sorry. Okay, so one of my short form videos was this. Are you going, I don't want a partner because of trauma, because of fear, because of attachment style? Okay. Are you saying, I don't want a partner, I'm happy without a partner, but your reason is unhealthy reason? it's not coming from a analytical, healthy, I hate saying this, lifestyle choice. Okay, choice. Um, so a lot of people, I mean, there's the empty nest syndrome, right? There's the organically ends. They're married, there's been happily married, or they're married, they've had the kids, they've had the 2.4 kids, the white picket fence, the mortgage to the eyeballs, they're living on home brand coffee, and they've done it. They've done the dream, whatever country you're in, the dream of the family nuclear unit. Tick the box, I did it. So after it, what happens? A lot of them just go, never again, never again. I now can do what I want. I want to go fishing Saturday and sit around in my underwear in a boat and drink beer. And I don't have a wife to tell me I can't do that. That is like the dream for that guy, the dream. So, but what's the difference in it? The difference is he did have the healthy lifestyle that organically ended. It wasn't the falling out of love thing, and that can end as well as it can for some people when that's what it is. I don't really want to enter into, and you will get to know that I absolutely loathe the concept of cheating. I think I need to do a long form thing on the concept of cheating, on why the cheater is always the bad guy. And maybe it's not. Maybe there's no love. Maybe, I think I even, at the end of a relationship, the person said, I will go and get some therapy over this and find out what it was I wasn't doing in the relationship. They never did this, of course, right? Because, there's lots of things get said at the end of the relationship. But if I've decided that this person has, they're emotionally unstable, it got very, very seriously, it got very, very serious where it was becoming close to life and death situations. And so I wasn't equipped to deal with it. And I said, I can't cope with the level of instability that person had in their life. So, of course, I'm the bad guy in it, right? Because I just didn't want to be running up the hospital every couple of hours. So, and if these facts are disclosed at the start, I don't mind it. But a lot of people are on their best behavior, and there's these really bad traits can come out towards the end. Sometimes they don't at all. Sometimes things actually get better. But I think if people have health issues, if they have mental health issues, if they have anything, I think it should be disclosed. However, I can understand why people don't, because you can disclose, I might have this issue, and people will run. They go, well, I don't want to become a carer. I mean, it's a really horrible area to get into, particularly when marriage is, in sickness and in health. And because a lot of relationships are transactional, my least favorite word, and they are transactional, but it's the Slavic side of it is the stoic side of it is, and I've had real life experience with one woman taking me out to get some items, and then said, this is what a Russian woman does for their partner / husband or man. They look after them. And then that progressed into them saying, as a result of that, that particular person felt, I think they had this light bulb moment that they needed to maintain their attractiveness to their partner. And I think this actually put this incredible amount of pressure on them that wasn't there before, because they said something and it was a bit crude, and I don't think I can say it on the channel because I don't want to go down that path. But it's something I said at a restaurant, and these two guys appreciated it. But I think it's healthy that a woman knows things like that. But this is a Slavic mentality that there's like a Russian joke that, I still love you, but a certain part of my body doesn't. Meaning that they've lost that libido urge towards a person. And that could have been the very reason that a marriage didn't go ahead, because I go, do I just have to look perfect all the time? And I'd seen this. This is what I think. This is what men find amusing about women. Okay, so how do I word this? If a couple are sleeping together, it's warts and all, right? You get to see that person with no clothes on. You are being intimate. Like you can't get any closer, right? But then you go outside the house, and sometimes you act like that side never happens. I've been with someone, and we wiped the top of a bottle before we drank from it, but I'm not going to get graphic, but you can imagine we're doing more than just the risk of catching a germ from drinking from a bottle if you're intimate. There's much more goes on than that. So I think a dichotomy exists. And I think a lot of I'm getting a little bit off topic, but it's relating back to the topic of, like, they can have this thing. This person can have this thing. They can have that partner. They can have the partner. Okay. But then the attachment style kicks in. If they're fearful avoidant, they go, what if we got married and he left me? What if we got married and he cheated on me? What if we got married and he died? What if we got married and some family member didn't like him? And all this stuff, trust me, the Slavic community computate every angle and then some. And they don't work from just because I love him, that's enough. There has to be like 10 more boxes ticked. There has to be approval from family members. It has to be, even if you get the approval from family members and they're fearful avoidant and they've had a partner die, or they've had a partner who's the lazy, drunk Russian husband who's left them, and this gets normalized a lot in Slavic countries. You hear about. I can back everything up I say here. I can literally go copy paste chats from people where someone go, oh, that story of the drunk Russian husband and leaving him. That's just every second Slavic woman's had that. So that's just normal, right? But it doesn't affect the fact that the person that said that, they had a partner die and it took them 2 years before they could date again, right? And good on them for going out and wanting to date again and feeling they were ready, okay? They did the work. This channel, in case no one's had the light bulb moment, this channel is about doing the work, and a lot of us don't want to do the work, or a lot of us don't even know about attachment style and love languages. And this is why I'm trying to have a very meat and potatoes. Here's a guy off the street talking about relationships, and he's read a couple of books, and he's lived some very odd, he's been in some very vicarious relationships. And so I've had people go, write a book. It's like, I can't believe the story you just told me. I said, I can't believe I've lived that story. So this video on, are you being honest with yourself? why am I doing this video? I'm doing this video because I am just a little bit tired of people not qualifying their statements. Someone will sit there and go, I don't want a man. I don't need a man. Get them alone over a cup of tea and you go, but you know what? There's this handyman came around the house and I thought he was a bit of all right. And he was married. I go, hang on. 5 minutes ago, I don't want a man. I don't want any. I don't need a man. 5 minutes later, there's this handyman. He was all right. Could have been with him. So what am I like? If you want to say it, qualify it. Qualify it. Because I'm going to take it at face value. If I hear a woman go, I don't want a man, I'm going to believe that 100% they don't want a man. But if they're just saying it to fit into a clique, to fit into a group, to seek approval, because in this day and age, there's almost a backlash against partners. There's almost a backlash against romance, against the family unit. And in a world where individualism wants to be pushed, there's a lot of hypocrisy operating inside that cry for individualism. So if someone wants to get married, if some woman wants to wear a white dress and swear to her husband love and devotion to death do us depart, that's an individualism, in case you needed to be told. So berating traditional couples or same-sex couples or any joint unions, and you want to cry out for your individualism, if you want to identify as a lampshade or a cat, but then you are berating someone else, it's actually not okay. You've been a hypocrite. If you want your individualism, you damn well better allow other people to have their individualism. So trauma. So yeah, if you have had a long-term relationship in the olden days, right, where you just thought you get married and that's it, and we've learned over time that in Australia, for example, in the 1970s, and this was news to me, divorce was made legal. Now, there's a lot of countries where actually divorce isn't actually legal. Like cultures frown very strongly upon it. A friend of mine in, I don't think it's Thailand. I think it's somewhere else. The Philippines, maybe. Divorce is frowned upon. And it's very hard to get it. And I could be wrong, and I'm sure people will let me know if I'm wrong. But it still exists in some cultures. So, so in the West, when divorce was made legal, there was this massive spike. I can get divorced. Let's do it. So I think, what am I pushing for? The point of the video is honesty. The point is, are you being honest? And I think people should be honest with themselves. Like if I'm alone and I go, I'd rather be with someone, I'll walk around and go, I wouldn't mind having a partner. I think it'd be very nice to wake up and share a breakfast and a cup of coffee and talk about your day. And I think I should be allowed to have that opinion. And I think I should be allowed to pursue that opinion. And if it's a problem for someone, it's actually their problem. It's not my problem at all. But I'm pretty curious as to why it's a problem to them, because maybe they've got a problem that's causing them to have the problem with me. And that's what the video is about. Just be honest. If you are healthily saying, I don't want a partner, right? Your healthy viewpoint on that should be that if someone does want a partner, they can have one. I think that's my point, okay? If you want to have say if I want to have a partner, or someone wants to have a partner, they should in turn go, if someone else doesn't want a partner, they should allow that as well. Absolutely. But the sayings that people have, like, what's one of my pet hates and sayings? One of my pet hates and sayings is the truly stupid statement of, well, you'll never know what that's like. You never had kids. You'll never know the joy of blah, 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 blah. And I think it doesn't need to be said because, oh, you've never gone fishing. You'll never know the enjoyment of pulling a fish in. And I think it's pretty clear that if you haven't been fishing, that you don't know the joy of pulling a fish in. I don't think it needs to be said, but people enjoy saying it. I just think it's stupid to say to someone, you'll never know, blah, 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 if you haven't done it. We could do this all day long, couldn't we? You'll never know the enjoyment of going into space if you've never gone into space. I mean, well, Einstein, thanks for telling me that. So, there was a dark side of this we were going to go into on trauma bonding, and I had to look up the difference between Stockholm syndrome and there's survival bonding, and there's trauma bonding, which is a little bit weird, but it's an unhealthy bonding. Let's just say there's unhealthy reasons to be with people. Absolutely, there is. Even anxious attachment style, desiring somatic co-regulation, right? Not being able to find it by yourself, like just having sleepless nights. But if you have a partner, you sleep like a baby. You need to work out how you can sleep without that partner. Of course, it's better if you're sharing a bed with someone. There is the evidence, people. What you want to say? All the people going, I don't want to sleep with someone. They snore, their legs kick, they push me out of bed, they pull the covers off me. Yes, we've heard it all before. However, go research it and you will find that a couple that share a bed together bond, and they bond. You can bond through intimacy, is a primal way of bonding, right? So your partner you have been intimate with is unique. You are unique to each other. It's like the people on the street are not the person you're intimate with. There is a connection that you share. So there's a somatic connection, an intellectual connection, hormonal connection, okay? It's science, okay? And if you're at your most vulnerable and you are sharing a bed with someone, for the most part, unless the person's dismissive avoidant, okay, or fearful avoidant, so we're not talking about secure or anxious attachment here. This is about the avoidance, okay? They can share a bed with you and then hop out and walk away and act like nothing's happened. They can, because it's in their nature. The fearful avoidant does it out of fear. They go into overwhelm on losing their independence. The dismissive avoidant does it for the same reason. But the dismissive may never come back. The fearful avoidant is likely to come back because they go into the push-pull effect, whereas the dismissive can, but it's at a lower strength, for want of a better word. The drive is less, shall we say. So they've proven you live longer if you have a partner. There's also, you can actually find some women nag men to death. It's true. You can actually find that too. But that's not a healthy relationship, right? This is where I need to qualify the channels about an idealistic, healthy relationship and how to get there. And to get there, we all have to do our work. We all have to do, is there something I can do better? And you'll probably answer yes to it. You probably will. Get yourself alone in a corner of a cup of coffee and you go, is there something in my life I could do? If there is a personality flaw I have, am I a little bit short on patience? Am I a little bit too reactionary when I'm touched? In the love languages book, Gary Chapman talks about where in couples counseling, one woman dearly missed affection. They had it in the honeymoon period, and then the guy just did his guy things. He went to the tool shed and worked on his cars and climbed into bed, and there wasn't any intimacy. And then he didn't know why his wife was standoffish. And then in counseling, it came out she missed affection, she missed contact. And this guy had actually said, I'm not comfortable doing that. And then this guy had to be taught, if he wanted the marriage to continue, he had to be taught to touch someone. He had to put his hand on his wife's hand. Of all the atrocities of mankind, how dare they touch each other? So he had to learn to feel comfortable with it. And it was a little bit each day until, this isn't as bad as what I thought. So, and that's why couples getting together and attachment style is really quite paramount in having less work to do. Two secure people sit down and communicate well. Can you pick your shirts up off the floor and put them in the laundry basket? Could you fill the jug with water and not leave it empty? Could you on and on and on? But it's communication, and then secure a relationship. The other person go, I didn't know that upset you. Oh, it's not a problem. Okay. But then in the other three, if you will have protest behavior. Okay. So you will have, oh, well, that's your problem. You don't like the shirt on the floor. You need to learn how to live with the shirt on the floor. That's not healthy. That's protest behavior, right? So it's not good for anyone. So if the person's not been heard, it's about wants and needs, and that comes from your childhood development thing. So if your needs aren't met as a child, you might feel you don't need to meet anyone else's needs, right? And unfortunately, the very word relationship is about wants and needs being met. That's what it means. It's an interpersonal relationship with another human being. It's not like buying a car you like to drive and then you'll get rid of it in 5 years. It's like the thing of you don't get a puppy and get rid of it when it stops being cute. It's like relationships exist for whatever reason, and particularly post, say, menopausal, post childbearing age relationships, of course, have a completely different meaning to them. I mean, the libido drive's still there, generally speaking, and that's very important. And that was something I wanted to touch on. And I'm gonna push this point because you know what? Gary Chapman's book talked about it. There's a lot in Gary Chapman's Love Languages book I thought was very fluffy. It was very coffee shop psychology. It was very glaringly obvious. It was actually quite outdated as well. That there was very defined male female roles in it, which aren't relevant anymore. However, and I will stand by what I'm about to say, and you can attack me all you like. But believe it or not, I didn't create the human race. I know this might come as a shock to you, but I am just but one lowly Homo sapien on a planet Earth with 8 billion other people. Okay. I'm pretty comfortable where my spot is in this space. So I'm going to say something, and it's going to annoy a lot of people, but this is the honest truth. Okay. Men actually have an unwanted primal urge towards intimacy. Okay? The reproductive system of the male. And you don't need to be told this, but I think some women might need to be told this. I have read comments from women going, I am not a bag of hormones and I just don't want to jump into bed every night. And that's fine. You don't have to do that. But just do understand that the whole thing of shows like Cheaters and all of this cheating, and even going back to figures in history of, I won't say his name, but there was a very famous artist who cheated on his wife a lot and would say it didn't mean anything. And it's quite possible it doesn't mean anything. But I guess that's where some people like to have the airy-fairy concept that there's a difference between sex and there's a difference between making love. The more old-fashioned of us will call it love making because it's you love the person you're doing it. Now, with the myriad of gender identification definitions out there, there was one I learned in a class which I worked it out, and it's not a gender identification thing. It's actually how do I explain it? It's the way in which I have intimacy. So there's a thing called, I hope I get this right, demisexual. So I looked it up. There's also a thing called sapiosexual, right? So one of my partners said they were sapiosexual. I said, so am I. So it shouldn't have the word sexual in it because it's just a little bit conflated, really. But for the people that don't know, you will find on dating sites a box to tick called sapiosexual. What is it? Wait for it. It's where you find intelligence attractive. How dare we? How dare we admire someone's brain and ability to think when we could be looking at their hair or the curves on their body? But I'm sure the physical attraction is there to start with. But it's quite possible to go out with a very attractive person and you have nothing in common, and you might even think they're a raving lunatic. And some people go out with the trophy husband, the trophy wife. A lot of people are guilty of it. And they could go out with them for the size of the wallet or purse. However, getting back more to a relationship focused video, sapiosexual. So yeah, that's a big thing. Like if you can sit, I've been able to sit and talk to partners for 3 hours in a kitchen on politics, on relationships, on music, on cars, on countries we visited, on family members, endless conversation. And it's immensely rewarding to actually to talk and be heard, to listen and converse. And those moments can mean more to some people than going out and finding a partner for one night. It's like, which sort of contradicts what I'm saying. when I'm talking about the sex drive, but you would probably end up being intimate after the 3 hour conversation because you realize how amazing that person is. So what's demisexual? Demisexual is this, and a lot of people are like this, but it's actually where you need to develop a emotional bond before you're intimate, and it comes down to liking the person. There was some movie, right? I mean, we don't have to say political parties, but if you're of one persuasion to a political party and you met someone and they were of the other persuasion of the opposite political party, that could be enough not to sleep with the person. You could just go, I'm not sleeping with a damn so-and-so. Their viewpoints on welfare, health, work, infrastructure oppose mine. And that's enough right there, okay? For some people, they don't care. They would sleep with the enemy if it means getting their rocks off. So my point on these women who are like, men just want sex. The fact is, it's a true statement. I mean, a man really can't truthfully deny that. We should just really make it sort of just a normal axiom that water is wet and the sky is blue and we need air to breathe. Men just want to have sex. Well, this is where it's not qualified. Men, it's not the only thing they want. Men want sex. Absolutely, they do. They have a libido. They have a body producing sperm that's screaming to get out. And if a woman's happy to be the recipient of that libido thing and she enjoys it, then everyone's a happy camper. Okay? But to say men just want one thing is actually wrong. It's actually just wrong. And it's as bad as saying women only want financial security. There will be some women who will get past that. They might meet someone who's on a lower wage than them and go, this guy's just fantastic. This guy gets me flowers, tells me I'm beautiful. He says he loves me. He opens doors for me. We don't argue. We like the same music. And things could be better if I was with a millionaire. But believe it or not, and this can come as a shock, some people actually just love the other person for who they are. What a revelation in 2025 that a man and a woman could just happen to like each other. And there's nothing about job title. There's nothing about income. There's nothing about if they own a house. There's nothing about what country they're from. Believe it or not, that's not forgotten. That happens. It's still happening, to the shock and horror of a lot of people. And trust me, I'm probably have done or will do a thing on dating in 2025 where it's like a job interview. And people think I make it up, but years and years ago, it was literally, what's your job title? What's your income? Do you own your house? And what's your superannuation package like? And what car do you drive? That was it. There's nothing about what food did I like, what music did I like, what were my hobbies, what was I looking for in a partner, what makes me happy. It was purely physical and financial and economic. And so why is the channel about Slavic women? Slavic women actually expect a male to be a provider, okay? Now, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, I and many men could be a provider, but why are the men forgotten about in the relationship picture? And I'm not jumping on the men's right activist thing. I'm jumping on the equality thing. There's a meme out there, right? And so there's a, and I got to say, I love it because sometimes things need to be said. There's a meme out there. So there's the guy, there's the woman. The woman goes, for a man to go out with me, they have to have a house, a good job, income, this, and this, and this. And the man goes, oh, so what can you give me? The woman goes, well, me. And the guy goes, ha, 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 and walks away. Okay, there I said it. It's like, statistically, there are actually more women on the planet than men. Go to a Slavic country. I've been to Slavic countries. I've been to Belarus and Russia. And I'll tell you right now, you hop on a bus and you are outnumbered by women. And why is that? Because of the horrors of war and the horrors of alcoholism and economic collapse. Okay. So there are countries where, and that was what the Russian mail order bride thing was about. It was never, ever, 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 ever about Russians seeking a better life. It was about a shortage of men. Go look it up. Go read up on it. It actually gets worse as they get older. In the 20 bracket now, it's nearly equal. But because men die younger, maybe because they're nagged to death. I'm joking. Some are, but maybe because they work harder, they're more active, they're not so healthy conscious, whatever. The reasons are that. So we need to debunk this fallacy that some women look for men in other countries for the better life. You know, statistically, Slavic women don't want to leave the country. Did you know that? A higher number of single Slavic women looking for a male partner actually don't want to leave Russia because they have their family there, they have the culture there, they have their children there, they have their friends there, okay? So if some guy goes, oh, I would mind leaving this country, it's not getting any better, I'm sort of don't have much to keep me here, whatever, I know how to speak Russian or whatever, they're a viable prospect. And actually the Russians, the Slavics, I'm friends with all Slavic people. I'm not going to go down a political Ukrainian Russian thing. I've got friends who are both. A Ukrainian actually said to me, there's an old saying that it is better where you are not. Okay. I guess we have, the West has the grass is always greener on the other side. But I mean, it just shows the depth of the Slavic culture. So, what, what is there? I mean, if I'm trying to stay attachment style focused, that's sort of towards the end of it, isn't it? So, and we're talking about being truthful and being honest. So maybe if more women actually said, you know, I don't want a man because they're too much trouble. But if I found one who wasn't, I'd marry him. Maybe they shouldn't say, I don't want a man. Maybe they should just go, it'd probably be nice to meet a nice guy and share and make dinner for two people instead of one. It's really boring making dinner for one person. It's just like I never eat well. I was with someone and I got told their entire life changed when I was with them for a month, that they ate better, they slept better, they were happier, their entire life changed, that they were eating nowhere near as well. They were like eating not much better than their cat, to be honest. They were cooking up human grade meat, but they got very good food for the cat. but they just eat like leftovers. And so they were doing a full spread of food because I was there. And I'm not going to actually go into past that. That's the context of what I'm saying of the fearful avoidant can have that and then walk away from it because of the fear of they can concoct in their head if me or someone else has gone back to the other country temporarily, they can put the brakes on in that moment and go, as amazing as what that was. It can be trauma-based. It can be superstition. They can think they're jinxed. Every relationship's ended tragically. Trauma-based fear, okay? Like it's not going to happen. It's even like the person I started with. If I meet a man, they will die, okay? So maybe for a couple of weeks when they were alive, it could have been amazing. But they're convinced the person will die, something horrible will happen. And they go, you know what? I won't put myself in a situation where the horrible thing can happen. That's your avoidance and fearful avoidance. Think, people, think, my good people, Runaway Bride. Our entire movie was made on fearful avoidant behavior. I want to be married. Do you take this man to be your husband? Bing, gone. Why are they gone? The people go, why did you get to that point and then run? And you can't explain it unless you go and read up on fearful avoidant. If you go and learn triggers, if you learn irrational emotive response, if you learn amygdala gland kicking in of fight or flight, like it's fear. Think about it. Fearful avoidant. It's in the title. It's 7% of the population. They populate a lot of dating sites and they just move around and they like the attention. But if it gets too much, they can just ghost, they can block. They're not being mean, horrible people. It's what happened to them as children with horrible, horrible parents who inflicted very, very poor parenting, for want of a better word. So I was going to touch on other stuff and it doesn't fit now. I think about like Stockholm syndrome, cycle of violence, none of that stuff fits, right? I mean, you got people staying together for the wrong reasons. I'm trying to do a video on people getting together for the right reasons. I doubt if I would do a video on that, but I mean, if anyone ever wonders why, okay, we can segue into it. Okay, so if you've got women seeing domestic violence in the news and go, thank goodness I'm not with anyone and that's not happening to me, you could correlate that. You can correlate that a woman a week dying of domestic violence in Australia, and you're a single woman, you could just go, I don't even want to put myself in a position of that. And that's a survival decision right there, okay? You can argue it's irrational that not every man is going to kill you, but there's actually there's a valid enough reason in that. But that statistic could have been there forever. It could have been a lot worse than before. And it probably was a lot worse before. There used to be never even domestic violence laws. Okay, so honesty. Are you being honest? You know, if you can sit there, if you can really say, I don't want to be with someone, and you have to be prepared that if you've got some guy and you think if you drool over some actor or some musician, I can't even think of the actor that was Aquaman, and so many women drooled over that guy. Or back in the day, it was like George Clooney or Sean Connery, and And then there's your Brad Pitt, and there's all of this. So if you sit there and go, I don't want a relationship, but if Brad Pitt knocked at your door and said, how about it, sweetheart? And you said yes, then you're lying. You're not being honest. You're not being honest because you're saying you might just want a one night thing with Brad Pitt. But my point is, the video is, are you being honest? Sit there and tell yourself, go, yeah, I tell my girlfriends I don't want to be in a relationship to fit in because I don't want to appear weak, because it's weak if I want a man, because I'm a strong female. Just be honest. Go, you know what? I don't have a problem with some cuddling up to a guy and eating popcorn and watching a movie. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Humans have been doing for decades, if not hundreds of years. Let's just have some honesty in the world. Let's just open it up. Let's just feel again, and let's just embrace love for what it is. Embrace the human touch. Embrace the somatic co-regulation of that. If I hold someone's hand, I feel calmer. And there is nothing wrong in me or another human being, male, female, whatever, wanting to feel calm in a somewhat turbulent world.